Here in the UK, the energy landscape changes quickly, so I thought I'd provide a few quick updates on the energy market and some things we can expect to see over the coming year. Hi everyone, I'm Richard Winstone with Over 50s Money. Before we start, please don't forget to subscribe to the Over 50s Money YouTube channel to keep up to date with our latest content. Thank you. So the energy landscape in the UK does change quite quickly. Even though it does take years, it also changes. A lot happens. So I thought I'd provide a couple of updates of what we can see in the coming, what we expect to see in the coming months, and how we're going to react to each of these things. So the first thing is a good thing. Current predictions are that the price cap is going to fall from April 1st, which is fantastic. So we are expecting the price cap to go down to about 1650. So it's around a 16% decrease on the current price cap, which is very good news. Obviously, it's a couple of £100 saving for everybody, which is more than needed. So that's great. But remember, that is going into the summer months. That price cap will only last April, May, and June. The price cap will change again from the 1st of July and again from the 1st of October. So the real important ones to pay attention to are the October and the January ones because they impact you the most. They're during the cold months, which are when we spend the most on our energy bills. So it's a good thing that it's going down in April. So will our usage. So we're not expecting to spend anywhere near as much in April, May, June as you would do in January, February, March. So it's good, but it's got limited benefit because we wouldn't be using as much energy anyway. A couple of other things. So there's increased debt in the market. That's been across the news recently. And obviously we've joined in on the latest consultation on that. Ofgem are currently planning to increase everyone's bills by £16 a year to cover that extra debt to help energy suppliers, which obviously I put back a strongly worded response saying how much I disagree. We did respond to the first consultation saying not to do it at all, but they ignored us and hundreds, I think thousands of other people who also emailed in saying don't do it. But Ofgem make the decisions they make and we have to live with them. So expect to see a slight increase of £16 a year. As I said, if the price cap comes down because of wholesale costs by £300 a year, you won't notice the £16 increase, but it is there. That, I think, in my mind, marks around the 25th incremental increase that Ofgem have made over the last couple of years. So I'll be having a look soon into all of the increases they've made and what the overall impact on our bills is of those decisions. I believe most of the decisions they've made in the last 2 years has been to increase elements of the price cap or add new elements in, which act as an increase. So outside of the wholesale gas crisis that's caused our electricity bills to go up massively, I believe Ofgem have made a lot of individual small decisions that have increased our bills dramatically. And I'll be looking into that and letting you guys know what that looks like. In terms of debt, along the lines of debt, the prepayment meter ban has technically been lifted. So there's a set of criteria suppliers need to meet before they can start force-fitting prepayment meters again for people that are in debt. And I believe the first 3 suppliers have already done it. I think it might be Octopus, British Gas, and someone else. But there are 3 suppliers out there that have met the criteria and can now start force-fitting prepayment meters again. So if you are in debt on your energy bills, please be aware that energy suppliers can start force-fitting. If you're a vulnerable customer, contact your energy supplier immediately and let them know that you're a vulnerable customer and that you can't have a prepayment meter force-fitted in your property. This is why the ban was put in place in the first place, because British Gas, it was revealed, were force-fitting prepayment meters into the homes of vulnerable people, which has always been a rule that they can't do that. And so there's an investigation going on at the moment as to whether there's going to be any punishment or how Ofgem are going to handle that. We don't know the outcome of that yet, but it's been known to happen in the past. They're likely to be a lot more conscious of finding out if a customer is or isn't vulnerable or if their household is deemed vulnerable prior to force-fitting prepayment meters now because of the big media outcry last year and the public outrage on it. So that should help you, that should help us. So if you are vulnerable, make sure your supplier knows. Or if someone in your household is vulnerable, make sure your supplier knows so they know they can't go around force-fitting prepayment meters at your property. Along with the force fitting, there's also the force switching of smart prepayment meters or smart meters to a prepayment function. So if you have a smart meter in your home, they may not come out, they probably won't come out and force fit a standard prepayment meter, but your smart meter can be switched to a prepayment mode from their offices remotely. So again, if someone in your household is vulnerable, make sure you tell your supplier so that they don't come doing this and switching your meter to a prepayment meter. Other expectations across this year. So, in the next month or so, we are expecting profit announcements from some of the bigger suppliers for 2023. Whilst there's no market wide indication as to what that's going to be, my expectations are that there'll be record levels of profits. So, if you guys remember, there were 6 monthly profit announcements for the first half of 2023 made in the back half of 2023 last year. And British Gas had something like 10 times record level profits for a half year. And the explanation on that was, from Ofgem, it's that they were allowed to recoup costs incurred in previous years, the backwardation costs from the energy crisis and all of this. And because it's all hit during that 6-month period, they reached record profit levels, and that there should be lower profit in the second half of the year because those costs were recouped over 6 months, which was stupid. But they still had record profits for the first six months of the year. So the second 6 months aren't going to have been a loss, especially not as there was 10 times record profits on that first 6 months. So yeah, expect to see some record profit levels announced and a lot of public outcry about that. On the note of British Gas, I'm sure you all saw the news notification of British Gas, or Centrica CEO. Centrica is the company that owns British Gas. So this is effectively the British Gas CEO and his salary last year. He made £4.5 million in 2023, including his bonus, which I believe was over £3 million. And he says something that's somewhat reasonable, but still outrageous, isn't it? That he got paid that much money, a single person getting that much money during a cost of living crisis is it's a hard pill to swallow. But his point was that he doesn't set his salary, he doesn't set his bonuses. That's all done by a committee that he's not a part of. Other people decided that, and he didn't say this, I'm saying this, but at the end of the day, the gas crisis was fantastic for energy suppliers, energy generators, people that generate the energy, like companies that generate the energy, like British Gas. During the gas crisis, that huge spike in our wholesale costs, our energy bills, that wasn't because there was a big spike in costs for the generators. It's because we cut off the Russian supply of gas, and the generators that did supply the UK were worried we'd run out of supply. And it's really dangerous for the system to run out of supply and for everyone to start having blackouts across the country. So what they did to try and make people use less, standard supply and demand, is they massively increased their prices. Their supply, their costs didn't go up, but their prices went up by 3 or 4 times. And all of that 3 or 4 times increase in price is pure profit. So companies like British Gas got extreme levels of profit from their generation side. And as the CEO, Chris O'Shea, that's his job, to increase shareholders' profits. So that's probably why the remuneration committee, gave him a huge bonus of basically double his salary. It's not good. None of that's positive for us as consumers, but that is supply and demand economics and how it all works, unfortunately. It is what it is, but that's just a bit of information for you. So yeah, that was an interesting piece to see, and I'm sure after the announcement on their profits for 2023, Chris O'Shea is probably in for another big bonus this year. Let's end this on a positive note. I am hopeful that competition will be coming back to the energy market this year. A lot of charities and consumer groups don't think competition was good for the energy market. I think poorly regulated competition is bad for the energy market, which is what we had before. Ofgem weren't doing enough to check the financial resilience of the companies they were giving out licenses to. We hit a crisis, 30 of those companies collapsed, and it caused billions of pounds to be put onto our bills. That was a poorly regulated system. Now we're back in a bad system, an oligopoly, where there are a few suppliers, I believe 6, that own 95% of the market share of customers. So prior to the crisis, the big 6 had about 60% market share. I believe it dipped just below, like 59%. market share. And now, because of all of those collapses, all of those customers were moved back to these big six energy companies that could handle taking on a bit of loss during a crisis. And now they're up to, I think it's 95% market share again, which means they have an oligopoly. And amongst them, there's not a lot of reason for them to want to compete. They're not going to be losing market share. There aren't a lot of small energy suppliers out there at the moment taking market share away from them. And they're not going to get much benefit from stealing customers from the other big six, because they'll just steal customers back, and it's just be a back and forth to stay at the same percentages. So there's not a lot of reason for them at the moment to promote competition, but I believe Ofgem are going to be making some changes. They're going to get rid of the market stabilisation charge in April, hopefully. I haven't actually seen a finalised update on that, but hopefully that goes in April, and it should introduce competition a bit more. Ofgem are doing some consultation work into how to improve competition in the market at the moment. I've recommended that they remove the ban on acquisition-only tariffs, so then suppliers can start offering cheap tariffs to get some customers on board. And once that starts, it's sort of a snowball effect. One supplier will do it, another supplier will see some customers leave, and then we'll try and get back with a better deal. And the prices should start dropping, the customers should start moving around, and we should hopefully, by April 2025, have a normal switching market back. And I liked that switching market from the past because customers that were engaged in the energy market were saving £200 to £300 a year on their energy bills, which I'm sure we can all do with right now. So if that comes back, that'll be fantastic for the market. I also, if I can take one silver lining from the energy crisis, it's that a lot more people are engaged with the energy market now. So prior to the crisis, only around 50% of households were actively switching, whereas now I would guess around 70 to 80% of people would switch if they saw a decent tariff, online fixed rate tariff that saved them £200-300 on their energy bill. People will start switching quite quickly. People are more engaged. You can advertise it and people will see it and say, yes, I do want to save money on my energy bills because it's been almost £2,000 for 2 years. So let's try and get it a lot closer to 1,000 where it used to be. So yeah, hopefully we will see competition come back and our energy bills start dipping. Those are all the updates I have at the moment. Sorry, it's a little bit of a ramble there, but I think there's quite a lot of useful information. There are 3 active consultations on Ofgem's website at the moment, but I'm not getting involved in any of those. I don't think they're price cap specific. They're not going to lower our bills, and that seems to be my area of focus. So I'll be keeping my eye out for the next lot. I do have a meeting at the end of this month with Ofgem, one of the consumer groups and charities meetings. So if anything interesting comes out of that I can share, I will. Otherwise, I'll just keep you updated as we go with further energy updates when I can. Thank you all for watching this video. Please subscribe to the Over 50s Money YouTube channel and turn on notifications to be updated when we post our latest content. Thank you.